It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. This is my first live from my new studio. Guys, thank you all for reaching out and asking about the move. The move has been insane, but it's good. We had a lot of help, even though I posted that Instagram story saying, where are all my friends? People showed up because I can't necessarily participate in the move. So thank you guys so much for all of the love. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed our podcast with Kempire. We talked about pride, Jason and I's relationship, the ups, the downs, and how we've kept it together for 7 years. I always say this, Kempire asks the best questions, and he's one of the few that's able to get me in a moment. I feel like he likes to do this. He likes to get me in a moment where I'm like crying, and he brings it out of me. He's probably laughing at me right now. I don't want to put words into Kempire's mouth. Let's bring him up. Hi, Kempire.
It's not intentional. It's not intentional. But I love talking with you guys. I sat here, mind you, I've probably heard and watched that interview multiple times, but I literally sat here, of course, multitasking, because we have to multitask, watched and listened and laughed again, watching it.
You really do ask amazing questions. And, sometimes when I even try to hide behind like one of the questions of how did you and Jason meet, you're like, okay, Adam, enough with you. Let me hear Jason's side of the story. And I'm like, girl, you better shut the hell up. You better not give away too much. But I just appreciate you, and so does Jason. I'll speak on his behalf because he's not here right now. We appreciate you for having us on, and it's always a pleasure.
Of course, and I love the new studio. This is incredible. It looks huge now.
Yeah, it's. I have a whole space now, which is interesting, and everything's new. It's bright. I have like this little floor to ceiling window over here, so I don't need my box lights. It's nice. I'm good. I'm happy with it.
Okay, fancy.
Okay, well, it's also the size of a box, so it is what it is. But I, again, appreciate you having on. We're back today to talk about the Real Housewives of New York. Last night's episode, Kempire had to school me last week because I was like, guys, catch us tomorrow. And he's like, shut the hell up. There's no episode tomorrow. And I was like, oh no, there's been so much going on. So now
I was excited though.
You were?
I was excited because we needed a break.
Yeah, we did need a break. And it makes me wonder if they had to edit some things out or what the case was, because it's not like there was a holiday, I don't think.
No.
So I don't know. But if you had to rate this episode from a 1 to a 10, it was kind of intense. What would you give it?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I kind of agree. RHONY is one of my favorite. It's my favorite of the entire franchise. But I have to say, I thought, we would get some, at this point in the season that it would be exciting, it would be fun, it would be funny, and it isn't. I would have to rate it probably 5. Hey, I love that.
Always with the kid. She loves the new studio too. A 5?
A 5, and I'm being generous.
Why a 5?
It's not giving what it's supposed to give, and I'm a RHONY fan.
Okay.
It's just not.
Guys, I want to hear from you guys too. I see in here a 6. Who else is in here? If you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, show some love. Let's build the room up so we can build the chat up. But what would you guys rate the episode? And I'll start bringing up the numbers as well. For me, I thought Violet, not a 1. Okay. And a 5. We have a 5. Put the cat back. Yes, I did. And Patsy said, not happy at all this season. Rate it a 3. No, at least a 7. A 4. I agree, a 5. 5. 6.5 and a 7. Oh my gosh, we're all across the board. Okay,
it's a tough season.
It's interesting for me to watch this season. I think they made a huge mistake by taking Dorinda out of the game. I feel like she would have offered so much and helped carry this season. But we start off, and Eboni, brought the girls to a different part of New York City that they haven't been to, apparently, which I don't know what world these women live in, but Harlem. Jason and I used to live in Harlem and loved it. We were on the cusp of Upper West Side in Harlem. Just such a fun little city. And, Eboni wanted to introduce them to Harlem because she's moving there. So in doing so, I don't think the women necessarily thought that they were coming for a dinner and to be educated, but that's exactly what they got. Eboni just wants to share a little bit more about her culture and who she is, where she comes from. And I feel like the women think that they're that she is starting to ram that down their throat a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, look, I love the addition of Eboni. She's shown us so many things over the last few episodes. However, I have to agree with what a lot of people are saying in regards to her really be stepping up to this educator role. I think you can educate people without force feeding them the information. Her party could have been fun, but it really came across, it wasn't fun. Look, and I'm a history buff, but I didn't love this episode. I didn't love her party. It was kind of corny to me, but I think that's just Eboni. I think Eboni is corny, but she's also very educated and knows her culture, knows the Black experience. And it is important for the show, but I just didn't feel like it translated well for a show that's supposed to be entertaining millions of people.
Yeah, and I also think too, like Harlem is known for having so many amazing restaurants. Like Jason and I used to go to these little, like I call them all around New York City. You have these little like gyms, like these hole in the wall restaurants that you wouldn't see. You just kind of pass by them and they have the best food. And not only that, Harlem has amazing music. This could have been an opportunity to, showcase that, the food, the music, and then still made it about Harlem and what Harlem is.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to take anything away from Eboni because she wanted to take this moment and educate the women a little bit. So I don't want to take that away from her either. However, it's interesting to me because we see in the trailer, I think she said, I'm not Tony Robinson up in this bit, right?
No, to Toni Morrison.
Toni Morrison. Oh, I always
okay, Ramona.
Toni Morrison up in the. Hey, there's so much happening on this side. Toni Morrison, and yet she's still continuing to do that. Whether it was the talent show, her sitting down with the women and telling them about their white fragility, her kind of constantly schooling them. It was interesting to see. We have Eboni K. Williams doing that, who also loves her name, by the way. I do agree with that.
Yes.
She's like, this is an Eboni K. Williams party. But then this last episode, we got to meet Ramona Singer's friend, Bershon Shaw. And I loved having her on because she's such a breath of fresh air. She came in and she's like, I feel like you and I are going to be close to Eboni. And, Eboni's trying to school the women. And she's like, I don't like that. I feel like we're all the same. White, Black, Hispanic, men, women. Like, I think that we should all be on a even playing field. And Eboni K. Williams is like, what the hell are you doing right now? Like, I'm trying to get them out of that mindset. And you're over here supporting it. And I also thought this moment was really funny, too. Ramona's like, move over a little bit because we don't want to keep it white and black and black. Let's, get everybody in the same shot, but kind of diversify it a little bit. And it kind of just solidified the fact that Ramona Singer really is calculated with her Instagram posts, but she has to be. She's an influencer and a public figure. She has to be calculated with her social media. We know that, but it was just funny because it backfired. And Eboni K. Williams sits in the background and she waits for a slip up, especially from Ramona.
Oh my goodness. Look, as I said before, I feel like Eboni could have made this a fun situation. It didn't have to be, okay, now we're going to read off cue card. Mind you, it wasn't them reading off their cue card. It was her speaking and teaching to them. Look, yes, I think it's a great thing to bring them to Harlem and engulf them in the culture and the knowledge. But I like how she did it originally when she first met them and she told them about Sag Harbor. And that experience. I think you don't need to force feed them the knowledge because it's going to go in one ear and out the other, and they're not going to take it in. You already saw them during this dinner. They were sort of like, oh, here we go. They already looked bored. And I think either way, even if she wasn't force feeding them Black history, I think they would have been bored. I don't think Eboni is probably the most fun girl yet. We will see a fun side of her. But so far, even when they were doing the whole pageant, I was like, oh, girl, no, that's not even spoken word. What are you doing? What are you doing? And of course, Bershon. It's
Bershon.
Okay. For your channel, we'll say Bershon. Okay. But I want her to explain what that conversation was because I don't want to criticize her just yet because I was trying to understand where are you coming from? What are you trying to say? And I'm not sure if there were things cut out because, girl, no, yes, we're all American, but we're not seen as all American. So that's where I was sort of like, okay, I don't know. I have my eye on Bershon, but I liked her based on the interviews I've seen of her off of the show. but we only got a little bit of her this episode.
Right. Well, and I almost think because of Heather Thompson's exit that they reached out to Bershon and said, okay, we need to kind of add another person in. Are you willing to film? I believe Bershon doesn't even live in New York City. I think she lives in DC.
Oh, hell no.
You're like, oh no. But I think, I don't know if this was necessarily, you know, what she feels and believes, or if she was trying to, in her first moment of actually being around the women, trying to just please everyone. I agree with you. You know, these are some tough conversations, but I'm happy that they're being had. And it's nice to see different perspectives, especially from two different, you know, very educated Black women. They have two totally different perspectives on all of this. So it's kind of nice to see the difference, you know, because not everybody feels the same way about, you know, what's going on, or cultural differences, or how people should feel. And Bershon obviously is not on the same playing field as Eboni K. Williams.
And it's a reminder that Black people as a whole is not a monolith. So we're going to have a different perspective. But I do need Bershon to explain to us where she was getting at, because I don't feel like we got a full explanation of what she was saying. I'm like, okay, we're all American, but what are you saying here, Bershon?
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, hopefully she'll address it. Hopefully maybe someone will interview her and ask her, Bershon, come by the channel.
You know, I also think it's funny because we saw a clip, and I'm so surprised that Bravo even played this. We saw a clip of Sonia Morgan, LUANN de Lesseps, and Ramona Singer sitting around talking about the fact that, you know, I think they all like Eboni, but they feel like they're being force-fed information. And they, at this point, and I'm just giving this to you from a viewer's perspective, I think that they're wanting to get to know who Eboni is without being educated on Black history. But Eboni's stance is, that is who I am. I am a part of Black history. I am, you know, that's my life. That's my education. That's what I focus on. This is who I am. But they're, I think, wanting to laugh with her and not talk about cultural differences, cry with her and not be preached to, have moments with her that are just conversations that might be about family or something surface like your pets or your former relationships. And Eboni is not here for that. She, you know, feels like this is my life's work and I'm going to not shut up because you guys want me to.
And we also have to remember when this was filmed. This was 2020, as I said, and I've said this multiple times here on your channel, is that even if you weren't active before 2020 when it comes to Black Lives Matter or social injustice, after seeing what we saw, not just after George Floyd, after the countless amounts of social injustice that we saw filmed, a lot of people were triggered. And I think Eboni knew coming on the show, she had a voice and a huge platform, and she wanted to use that. Has it come across as preachy and pushy? At times, and I do feel like there are moments where she could have had fun, like at the pageant or even at this dinner. It could have been, guys, welcome to Harlem. This is one of the restaurants in Harlem owned by a Black woman. I think there are subtle ways that you can do it without them even realizing it and still have a good time. I don't feel like they had a good time at this Harlem Nights with Eboni K. Williams.
How do you feel? Okay, again, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. Continue to show more love. I keep on seeing on here where people are like, Kempire, I love your giggle. So I have to let you have that moment. But, you know, Leah McSweeney took it upon herself because you could tell she was reading the room at this Harlem Nights party, and she saw that the women were kind of not interested. And I couldn't believe when Ramona got one of the names wrong. I forgot which name it was because there were a few. But
EJ Walker.
EJ Walker. What did she call him? CJ Walker?
No, she said EJ Walker. It was, and actually it's Madam CJ Walker. All of them got it wrong.
My gosh. Okay. So, and then Ramona was like, like whatever. I mess up on, and I'm like, this is not a moment like that. No. But Leah McSweeney took it upon herself to pull Eboni aside and say, listen, I think the girls are receiving you as being a little much when this is definitely your realm. This is your life's work. But they feel like even if they speak on it in this direction or this direction, they're going to be wrong and they're walking on eggshells with you. And I have to give it to Eboni. She received that information really well. She was like, oh, I don't want to do that, but it's kind of letting her know, listen, you have to be a little bit more, or you should be maybe a little bit more subtle with the women.
Yeah.
Even if she doesn't feel like that's what she wants to do.
You can see that even with Leah, who I didn't love her this episode. I didn't hate her this episode because I usually have a very like strong reaction to Leah. I was okay with her this episode. But I have to say, even Leah seemed as if she was sort of treading lightly in the conversation with Eboni about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking in the chat, and this woman, Dana, said Eboni needs to be educated and lectured about her own racism, and the chat is not happy with this. They're like, seriously, Dana? Oh.
Well, let's be clear. And look, I recently got educated in regards to how Black people cannot be racist because racism has to do with power and influence, and Black people has hundreds of years of not having power or influence. So Black people cannot be racist. So let's get that clear. Just saying. Okay. And look, and we already knew that RHONY was going to be a very interesting season because of the addition of these two Black women on a predominantly white show. So.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. I have to take care of this really quick. Just
moderator.
What'd you say?
No, I was like moderate. It's all right, y'all. It's okay for us to have difference of opinion.
And that's what I try to say on here, but sometimes, everyone, this is one of those hard conversations that we have to have, but everyone has these, it's almost like talking about politics. Like a lot of people don't want to share their political beliefs, Ramona Singer, because, it stirs up this sort of like these passionate feelings and thoughts that everybody has, and every single person's kind of has a different perspective to some capacity, and it really either gets people passionate in a good way or pisses people off. It's hard.
And I've heard people say, they're not enjoying Eboni because she's bringing up these issues. Again, I'm reminding people the year that this was filmed. So I don't mind Eboni bringing up these issues. I also do think that Eboni does have a fun side. We've seen little bits of it. But I also think she came on this show with a mission, which I'm okay with as well. But I would like to see her mix it up. And I felt like when she hosted her Harlem Nights with Eboni K. Williams, I felt like she could have used that moment to show her fun side, but at the same time, bring them to Harlem, which according to Ramona, it's another region. No, sweetie. And when she said, oh, it's down there. No, honey, it's actually uptown from where you live. So right. I think just bringing him there, but Ramona has done this for years. She made a big thing about going to Brooklyn. So I get it. And it's actually a thing. They act as if they were going to Staten Island, where I was born and raised. Now I get that.
I mean, it is interesting to watch. There are certain conversations that I think at first Ramona was okay coming into because she was very calculated in the way that she was doing it, or thought she could be calculated and maneuver through. But Eboni K. Williams, whether it's talking about race, which I think these are conversations, again, like I said, that we need to have, or politics, Ramona Singer can't wiggle her way out of this. Actually, I want to bring this up really quick. This is the Ramona Singer that we saw last night. Hey, I have to. Guys, smash that like button for Ramona Singer in this face. Ramona Singer was upset because Eboni K. Williams showed up and wanted to talk politics, but that's not what Ramona Singer invited her over for. Ramona invited her over to get to know her better, get to know her without feeling like she's being educated. And the first thing that happens as soon as Eboni K. Williams sits down is talks about the fact that America might potentially at the time get our first, not only female vice president, but first Black female vice president, first Black vice president. So this is something that, this was something she was very excited about. And Ramona Singer, a lot of people feel like she was going for Trump. We don't know who she voted for. I think you corrected me last time when I said that, because I was like, she has to be a Trump supporter. But at the end of the day, it's true. We don't know. That's why, when you vote, it's private. We don't know who she voted for, but she definitely damn sure is not comfortable having these conversations. She was pissed.
I think she made it pretty clear in this episode who she voted for. Before, it was kind of like, we kind of know, but we don't really know. But in this episode, in that particular scene with that really hilarious photo, I didn't even remember her making that face.
This face?
Yo. And that's such a classic Ramona face. And look, I get it. And as I said before, we have to remember the year that this was filmed, because there's a difference between being a Republican and a Trumper. There is a difference. I know plenty of Republicans that did not vote for Trump. And the reason why Eboni feels it's an important conversation to have with someone she is building a friendship with is because if you voted for this person, you're voting against my own privileges and freedoms, and when it comes to equality, when it comes to so many other things that fell under that administration. So it's hard for especially a Black woman to be friends with someone that feels that can't even relate on, oh, we're going to have our very first female vice president. Like, we can't even relate on that. You're not excited about that?
She's like, no, I don't even want to talk about it. And not only did she not want to talk about it, to be fair, she didn't want to talk about it, and she literally had to get up and walk away. She was about to leave her own Upper East Side apartment. And she said that before you came here, Eboni, I wanted to educate myself, and I really opened up my mind because I looked up microaggression. And then the conversation led to, Eboni telling Ramona that she's right now in this moment using her own white fragility, and she's gaslighting. And Ramona turns around and looks at her and says, I think you're gaslighting me.
She doesn't know what that means.
Ramona's going to Google that too as soon as Eboni K. Williams walks out the door. But, this is classic Ramona, because how do you go, and I have to ask this, how do you go from this to trying to scapegoat out of this with this?
That's Ramona.
Look at Ebony's face. She's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I can't keep up. There's just like 10 different people in one person's body. I don't know which way you're going, left, right. She's getting whiplash.
But that's Ramona, because Ramona wants to just make it disappear. She literally walked out of the room. She's like, I don't want to be educated. I mean, I like to be educated, but I don't want to be educated.
Yeah, and she's like, I feel like you're being preachy. I feel like you're ramming this information down my throat. And Ebony's like, this is me. I'm not going to change me. So where do we go?
And Eboni said that she was trying to see if there was a way, because we have to also remember this is also being filmed during the critical election. And, we had to wait days before we found out who the president was going to be.
And at this point, a long time.
Yeah. But I was like, all right, I get it. And then and as I said before, in this moment, this is where Ramona told us who she voted for. When she talked about the mail-in ballots, she was just regurgitating some of the stuff that, that other man that has disappeared was saying. So I was like, oh, okay, Ramona. Look, I get it. And I also get that there are some people that vote that aren't necessarily fully aware of who and what they're voting for. Some people are just voting for one particular thing. You know what I mean? So they're not considering the other things that they should be considering, like your Black female friend over here that's in your home all the time.
Right. And,
you know what I mean?
It's not just that, but you're right. You hit the nail on the head where some people are truly voting for, like, you have some people who might vote, and I don't want to get too much into politics, but you have some people who might vote for Republican just because they want to save money on taxes. You might have, you know what I mean? There are certain things that people see, this one little box when there's 100 to really look at and weigh out your options. And they're like, oh shit, this is going to benefit me and I'm going to pay less taxes.
50 Cent said that. 50 Cent came out and everyone was giving him, the business in regards to that. So
do we not remember the 50 Cent, Lala Kent, Randall Emmett situation? 50 Cent, if he likes his money and he's going to get his money and keep his money. So
I can't wait. He was the ultimate troll, but we digress.
Okay. No digressing. I'm going to look up digressing and monologue.
Wait, which one? Monolith?
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Am I Ramona? No,
you are so not Ramona.
All right. Well, I do want to ask you again one more time, since we're on the conversation or on the topic of Real Housewives of New York. Bershon Shaw, you said that you want her to explain a little bit more about where she was coming from in this conversation. Yes. I have to say, I think she's beautiful. I think she is hilarious. I think she integrated into the group really well, because it's always hard for a new friend of or housewife to come in or onto the show and come into this already pre-made dynamic and try to fit in and find your place. But I do want to know, in your opinion, because we know from the super trailer that she is going to get in a little bit of an altercation with Sonia Morgan when Sonia tips the bottle a little bit. Do you think she could be a potential shoo-in for next season as a full-time Apple holder.
Look, I've said this before. I like it when our housewives are actual housewives. I like Bershon, and I'm interested to see what else she brings. So far, I'm not loving her in this first episode. I wanted to see more of her. I didn't love her dress that she had on, or whatever that was, the corset situation. Look, I'm not a fashionista, but I didn't like it.
And neither am I, but I liked it.
Oh, of course.
I thought it was cute. I mean,
I like everything else, hair, makeup, but that top, no.
Well, Sonia Morgan's wearing a tiara. The hell is she wearing?
Look, we don't expect that much from the other ladies.
And
But she's new. I was expecting a little bit more. But I'm open to Bershon. I want to see more of her. I want to see what actually happens between her and Sonia for that to escalate the way that it did. We didn't get a lot of her. And then the little bit that we did get of her, I was like, uh-oh. I thought I was going to like you, but I guess not. Because I've seen so many other interviews with her. And I was like, oh. But I'm not going to judge her too harshly on that. I like the fact that she's open to talking about, perfect timing when Ramona left, that she started talking about the, tiny situation thing, sexual talk.
Right.
So she seems like she will be fun.
Okay. Well, and also in order to be a Real Housewife of New York, you should probably live in New York. If that is in fact true that she lives in DC, that could be. Well,
our mayor, the new mayor that they're about to, he's going to be the Democratic candidate. Allegedly he lives in New Jersey. So
what the hell is going on in this world? When it comes to politics in our Bravo world, I don't know what's happening. But we also heard that there is a potential cast shakeup coming on. And, we've seen this for a lot of the Housewives shows. We brought on 3 new people. Technically, Sutton wasn't necessarily new, but she got a full-time role. Crystal Kung Minkoff and Kathy Hilton. Orange County, they cut 3. They're bringing on Heather Dubrow and maybe Vicky and Tamara potentially in the future. They don't have contracts, but we know we can't run a show with 4 housewives. So I'm sure we'll get 2 more because Bravo, if they're not listening, they need to listen. We can't run a show with only 4 or 5 housewives. That makes no sense. And then Real Housewives of Dallas, they dropped 3. So we see these cast shakeups happening all across the board. And now the rumor is, and it comes from a pretty good source, that Real Housewives of New York the producers are already looking into new candidates and trying to figure out who they're axing from the show next season because this season isn't being perceived well. Yeah, I think honestly, I have to agree. I think Leah's time is probably coming to an end. I think they definitely need Dorinda back. Who would be your dream all-star cast for the Real Housewives of New York? If you
definitely Dorinda. I'm
Dorinda.
sorry.
No. Dorinda.
Definitely Dorinda, but Tinsley, just because I want them to resolve their issues, and so Dorinda can say, I was right. I like the petty.
We can't have Tinsley back. Go ahead.
Oh, God. And that's it. That's the only 2 that I would want to see come back.
Who would
Everyone else should be new. There's so many amazing women here in New York, and I've always said that there's no reason that we need to stick with these other ladies that have been there. I don't want to see Sonia go. I wouldn't even mind if you keep Sonia, Ramona, and LUANN. Bring back Dorinda because she has a real friendship with them, and I think that they could find some really interesting women that maybe that even they know that you can bring on the show. That would be interesting. And
I think they should make it a cast of 7 too.
Yes. It works for Beverly Hills because we already know there are a couple of housewives not bringing anything, and it's still pretty interesting.
Right, and Beverly Hills has 8, right?
Is it 8? Oh, damn.
Kathy Hilton, Kyle Richards, Crystal Kung Minkoff, Sutton Strack, Dorit Kemsley, Lisa Rinna, Garcelle, and Kyle Richards.
Okay, well, yeah. Oh, I wasn't counting the friend does, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We need it. I feel like it helps, especially when someone's not carrying their weight. And honestly, look, I'm a straight shooter, pow, pow, pow. But I like Eboni as a part of I like Eboni as a part of the show, but I've said this before. I know you're adding a new person, a new housewife. I wish she was an actual housewife, but I'm willing to let Leah go to keep Eboni there.
And I was going to ask you that too. Do you think Eboni will make it to another season?
If she wants to, I think she will.
Would it backfire on Bravo for bringing her on, and then in return, next season being like, listen, she's not going to cut it, we're going to take her off the screen? Would that backfire on Bravo and make them look racist?
I don't know if it would make them look racist. I think they will base it on maybe more than likely making it her decision. I honestly believe it will be her decision if she would like to come back, because I'm sure she's receiving a lot of backlash. I don't think people realize the amount of backlash she's receiving, especially being a Black woman on a majority white show.
Right.
So, and I think she was actually in this episode looking for Bershon to have her back. But look, we understand out here that Black people are not a monolith, so one Black person is not going to always have your back. But with that being said, based on what we saw with Bershon, I'm not that excited to see Bershon coming back. But it's only she only had a moment. She only had a moment on the show, so I'm open to Bershon. But she's also another woman that's not a housewife.
Right. Well, and to be fair, we've seen moments that we don't like of every single person on that cast. We've seen moments where we didn't like, of Eboni, where she got her information wrong when she delivered it to Leah. And actually, she got her information wrong twice. I forgot what the first one was. We've seen moments from Leah that we haven't liked. Ramona Singer, Sonia Morgan, LUANN, DORINDA, they've all had moments. I really wish Bethany Frankel would come back, but she's way too damn busy to do this. And she's above it at this point. She's not going to be on the show. But okay, I'm interested to see.
What do you want to see come back?
I would like to see Eboni come back in hopes that, I don't know. I would like to see her come back to see how the second season would go for her, because I feel like when the Housewives come on or they join the shows, their first season is such a trial and error season because they haven't done the show before. And I would like to see her come back with building genuine friendships with the women and not just coming on as a newbie, and not really knowing anyone. Because even though they introduced her to us as Leah's friend, they didn't know each other, so that nobody was even buying that. I would like to see Ramona Singer and Sonia come back for sure. I don't think we need LUANN anymore.
Why?
And if we do, okay, but I don't know. Her, Ramona, and Sonia, they're kind of like a little tripod. They all lean on each other, I feel. And I would like to see Bethany Frankel. I wish she would come back, because even though she can be erratic at times, she just doesn't take shit from anyone. So somebody like Ramona would look insensitive or say something insensitive or get a name wrong, and Bethany would be like, what the hell is your problem? What's going on with you? Are you there? Are you not? Like, I don't understand. What is this? I don't get the assignment. I don't know what's going on. She's like manic, and it works for TV because her and Dorinda both have that high energy, and Dorinda gets gangster as hell when she like starts going in on you like mafia with the hand. I don't know. I think it would be great to have them back. I would like to see some of the old faces, but I would also like to get rid of some of the old faces too. And I don't mean age. I just mean as far as their term on the show. Yes.
I mean, I think it would be interesting to see, because I thought that Heather and Bethany would get along when they were on the show together. So I would be interested to see how Eboni and Bethany would get along and how that would work. I just, like you said, I don't see Bethany coming back. This was her second time coming back. I don't see it. She
won't come back for sure, but I think that her and Eboni would get on good, because I think that Bethany is very just aware and willing to listen as long as it's not silly. Like, she doesn't want to listen to Sonia scream and cry, and she doesn't want to listen to Ramona because she thinks that she's like not there. And she doesn't think that LUANN has any credibility. So I know that she has cut people off before mid-conversation and she dismisses them. But I don't think she would dismiss anything that Eboni has to say, because Eboni doesn't come on or come off as obnoxious. She's not like running around drunk, like being ridiculous. She's just, sharing her life's work and her culture. And I don't think that that's something that Bethany would ever dismiss. So I think they would get along well. I don't necessarily know how well she would get along with Leah. I think she'd be like, take several seats over here. But again, at the end of the day, I'm over here just dreaming up a dream cast because I know Bethany's not coming back, and I hate that.
And you reminded me that we got one particular scene with LUANN talking about her drinking issue with her daughter. And I was like, oh yeah, it didn't bring a lot. in that episode, in that particular, scene. So I was just like, it's important to talk about, but I think I am more interested in LUANN dating as opposed to anything else that's going on in her life. I don't want to hear anything about a cabaret show or Giovanni. No
more Giovanni. And we even got that little Giovanni must be making a lot of money off of this damn woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, I agree. I think that had that have been another housewife who was sharing their sobriety journey, we have had a few housewives who have had to share their sobriety journey, and they all deliver it in a different way. Bronwyn's was very different than LUANN's. LUANN, what other housewives have kind of, Kim Richards? Who else? We've had a few. Leah McSweeney, obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm also not here for a sober housewife. I feel like I like that the producers, I don't want to say get them all boozed up and like pit them against each other, but there's like, they have a system here and it works. They get them boozed up for these, filming sessions. And when they do, it's just like chaos. And then when you have a couple that are level-headed or can't drink, I know that that's a very real issue and people can relate to it, but I just don't know if this is the platform for it. I don't know if I'll even eat those words, but you know what I mean?
I don't think so either. But, speaking of Leah, because I saw a lot of people in the chat were ready for Leah to go as well. I thought I was alone. I have found my people. I appreciate you guys. But the one scene that we got with Leah in this episode, talking about her daughter and going to school, and she does mention, in the episode as well that, that she's Christian, but also becoming Jewish. What happened to the Jewish storyline? Are we done with that, Leah?
Do you think she just started it as a storyline and then she didn't commit? Yeah,
I do think that. I said that the very first episode that we got when she said, I'm converting. I was like, oh, here she goes. She's using religion for a storyline right now.
They all use something. Okay, so we have Keep Leah. We also have I have been all along over Leah. Leah is very disingenuous. Leah can definitely go. Oh my God.
My people.
Not paid by anyone said on Watch What Happens Live. She said she is almost a Jew.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh. And then this. Okay.
Over her toxic twin. I know. I get it.
Leah is a trash box. Oh my gosh. People,
that's a lot.
Wow. Shannon Van, I am over Leah too. Hi, Shannon Van.
Hey, Shan.
Okay.
See?
We need to keep people to hate watch. Bye, Leah. I love Leah's shirt on Watch What Happens live last night. Okay. We hear you guys. All right. Well, with that, Kempire, we're going to have to wait until next week to get that episode. I actually will be on a flight on this time next week. Today's Wednesday. Next Wednesday is my birthday, and we'll be flying to Salt Lake City. So I won't most likely be doing a recap, but I definitely will be watching the show. And tonight we get Beverly Hills. So I'm excited about that.
And Family Karma.
I love that they put those back to back too. And I'm excited to see the new season of Potomac. I don't need to hear anything about that. But
the taglines came out right before the live.
Oh, did they? I have to go check them out.
Yeah.
I have 3 pre-records that I'm posting right after this. So I was doing that. And of course, I told you about my troubles this morning. So I have to go deal with that too. But Kempire, before we go, guys, watch this. I'm going to post inside of the description of this video where you can go find Kempire and also go check out our podcast. Jason and I joined Kempire to talk about gay pride. If you weren't here in the room earlier, we talked about gay pride, our relationship, navigating this relationship for over 7 years, our ups and downs, and how we met. We have 2 different renditions of that story, but how we met, it's kind of comical. But like I said earlier, Kempire gets me on the soft side sometimes. Crying. Yeah, let me clarify that. And real quick, Lori Parsons, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Happy birthday. Thank you guys. Leah's an angry girl. Oh my gosh. Okay. love Kempire, such a humble man. All right. So with that, Kempire, give us the monologue. He always does a monologue too.
Well, everyone can follow me on the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, where you get daily and consistent hot topics and music, entertainment, reality TV, and more. And of course, as you just said, my last episode was with Adam and Jason talking about their relationship. So subscribe to my podcast, Kempire Radio, available on all podcast platforms.
Yes. Guys, make sure you go subscribe to Kempire. He covers a lot of the same stuff that we do, but with a different perspective, and that's always fun to see. I'm telling you, Jason and I jump in the car and we listen to you, especially if we have a long ride. So it's always fun to have you on because we're also fans of yours as well. And thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Hopefully you're around tomorrow when we jump on and talk about Beverly Hills. And I know not paid by anyone's going to be around because she has some Erica Girardi opinions. So I'm sure we'll have her too. Guys, before we go, make sure you smash that like button. Kempire, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, don't forget, go subscribe. And if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button and notification bell. I'm dropping 3 new videos today. I already dropped one. It's about Erica Girardi. Now they're saying that she's confirming that she will cooperate and testify against Tom Girardi, which is interesting to hear. But also I have 2 more coming your way in the next hour or so. So we'll see you then. Bye, guys.